All right, basically, we might have done some of this already. I'm going to bring it up again. Midpoint, you're going to see it in two ways. Way number one, what you're going to do is, I'm going to give you 2 points. And then you will need to tell me where is the midpoint. So basically, we did this a little bit last time. So for both this part and this part, whoops, you're going to have to do the following. So for 1A and 1B, you're going to use this formula. X1 plus X2 divided by 2. And then Y1 plus Y2. And again, X1, Y1. Oops, let me put that up a little. Okay, writing this down. X2, Y2. And basically you're doing the same thing. It's so you're going to do that for both of these problems. So on the bottom is your general rule. So that, and I think, so bottom's your general rule. So then what you do is on the top, add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2. And then on the bottom, same thing. Add your x, divide by 2. Add the y's, divide by 2. Now remember, the key is labeling. Label, label, label. If you can label your points properly, you will be in good shape. Okay, anybody have any questions? So that's the step you need to follow. Now, this next question, you kind of done it already. Eight what? Is that, yeah? Because 11 plus 5 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Good. And then what about the y value? Very good, Valerie. 8, 11. That's right. That's the midpoint for the first one. And the second one is similar, but remember, watch your negatives. I think you're going to get a negative value from maybe both of them. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to show you the setup for the next problem. Very good on the first one, Valerie. And then for the next one, now I'm not going to go too much more into, for which one? Well, negative 8 plus 4. So you have negative 4, and then you have negative 4 divided by 2. It's going to be negative 2. So this becomes negative 2. I'll move this down a little. Because negative 8 plus 4 gives us negative 4. And then what about the other one? Negative 5 plus 1. And then you also have to do what to this? And then, yep, so both of them turned out to be negative 2. All right, questions? I'll highlight the answers. So basically, follow, add your x's, divide by 2. Add your y's, divide by 2, but watch your signs. All right? Anybody have any questions? Now, this next one, so what's going to happen is, they said K is the midpoint between J and L. So K is the midpoint, so K has to be here. Now, we did a very similar problem last time. So J is here, L is here, and then between J and K, between JK, that's 6x minus 14. Now, what do we know about, and then the other part is 2x plus 42. What do we know about the relationship between JK and KL? What's the relationship? Since K is the midpoint between J and L, what do we know about the relationship between JK and KL? What will it be? They're congruent, that's right. So that means, since they're congruent, what's our setup? So first we have to solve for x. That's what I forgot to tell you all. And now you know. So first step, solve for x. And then, Edwin, you said they're congruent. So if they're congruent, then how do we set up our equation?
6x minus 14 equals 2x plus 40.
All right. Now, you're at a point you can solve for it. So that's your first step. Solve for the x. I know this is going to be a little out of order. And then your second part, substitute x into the expression. Well, what's the expression for JK? Which expression is JK? 6x minus 14. Very good. So part one, you'd have to solve for the x first. You should get a whole number.
Yeah. I got 14. It will be 17.
All right, so you should get x is 14. And then 70. Sorry about that. So then JK would be 70. Good job. All right, questions? So that's exactly how you do this problem. All right. So far, any questions? Okay. Got everything? Just want to make sure we have everything. You understand how I'm getting that? Yeah. Okay. Good, good. I know you're good, Catherine. You good with this? Okay. All right. Now, let's go to the next part. Now, we did a problem like this last time. That's why I really, so on the next page, so get ready, Catherine. Okay. Basically, all I'm going to ask is, given this diagram, what's our setup? Eight x plus 5 plus 13x minus 14 equals 180. Very good. Sum of the two angles adds up to 180 degrees. Now, just to make sure, be careful. For this problem, where are our x's? Are they opposite or same side? Same side. So basically, it's like having, in this case, $8 in a pocket, 13 in another. You combine it together, how many total dollars do you have? $21. So in this case, 21 x's. So yep. This. Okay, so it's plus 5 minus 14. But can we do plus 5 and a minus 14? What do you get? So it's 21x minus 9 equals 180. And then you should be able to find out solve for x at this point. Oh, I think this one might be coming out as a decimal. Oh, I think hold on, maybe not.
No.
Okay, relieved. So 21x minus 9 equals 180. So then given this, I'll bring this all down. Oops. So, and then you just solve for x. And then what do we get for x? 9. And then from there, plug it in. So and then you should get your angle values. Now remember, final, that's going to be one of them. Yep, and do those two numbers add up to 180? There you go. There you go. Good job. So again, since the x's are on the same side, since our terms are on the same side, combine like terms. So that's the key. Okay, questions? So far, so good. Okay, so we're good here? All right. Again, we did a similar problem last time. So basically, for here, we're just going to go over pointers, solve, and then plug in. All right, ready to move on? You two, Edwin, Catherine? Okay, vertical angles. They are congruent. So what's our setup? What's our setup for this problem? All right, now, given that, there's our setup. You go a moment or two to suffer the x. And then from there, after you get your x, you just have, do you only have to solve for one or both angles? Just one, because they're the same. These guys are, so you only need to do one or the other. You don't have to do both. Yeah, you don't have to do both. So, actually, this one's not going to be too bad because really, this is only going to be in the end maybe a two-step problem. Check your man. See what happened. Check that. 17 minus 2.
Oh,
X will be 15. What's that? We got 15. Hold on. Let's see what happens. No, you don't have to divide by 2. It's just 15. Yeah, because once you get the minus 2, that just became 15. That minus 2 is gone. That's all right. Hey, at least we caught it. You caught it now, Alex. You're good. But yeah, x is going to be 15 because really, 8x minus 7x, you just only have one x left. So that's okay. Hey, we caught it. That's what counts. We caught it now. And then just plug in into either one or the other. You should get 122 in either case. Again, I'd say check both, but if you want to check one, you're good. All right, questions? Good, everybody? Good? All right. Now, next one. It's not as bad as it looks. So we said angle 1 was 58 degrees. Give you a hint. I will show you the hints for this one. You want to get the others. Well, The first thing is,
Charlie Brown.
yes, this is going to be the Charlie Brown idea.
35 and 7 also for green.
Yep, because of the zigzag. Remember, Charlie Brown has a zigzag. Oh. What's that? Well, remember, angle 1 I gave you. And then the zigzag. So basically 3, 5, 7 are all going to, because of the zigzag. It's 58. Since the vertical angles 1 and 3 are going to be congruent.
And then we also 180 minus 58 to get the other range.
That's right.
And it's also
Yep. So 58 degrees is going to be it's going to be for 3, 5, and 7. And then for 2, 4, 6, 8, so remember 3 and 1 are congruent because they're vertical. 1 and 5 corresponding. 1 and 7 alternate exterior. So those are other ideas. But the quickest way you want to knock it out, Charlie Brown method, zigzag. And then for number 2, it's going to be 180 minus 58, which gives you 122. And then it's going to be 122 the rest of the way. I'll change that. So yeah, good idea. Very good. So yeah. So you can nickname this Charlie Brown or fire escape because of the zigzag. So, Catherine, very good. You remember you remember the fact it was Charlie Brown. So, hey, gotta give you full points on that one. All right, questions. So yeah, the idea, look at Charlie Brown or the fire escape because you do the zigzag. So I'll just do that in case. So 58, 58, 58, 58, and then the 122. I'll just use a highlighter for the 122. 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, questions. And again, there's multiple ways. Because remember, know your relationship between like angle 2 and 4, vertical. 2 and 6, corresponding. 2 and 8, alternate exterior. Or 4 and 6 is alternate interior. 3 and 5, alternate interior. And then 1 is 7, alternate exterior, 3 and 7 corresponding. So those are going to be ideas going forward. You have questions? All right. Here we go. Okay, next one. We just talked about it here. Alternate exteriors are congruent. So what would be our setup?
3x plus 15, 4x minus 19.
There you go. 3x plus 16 equals 4x minus 19. And actually, this is going to be similar to one of the previous problems, because you're going to already have x by itself by the time you get your variables and all that. And then just like before, similar measurement of either angle, substitute only into either 3x plus 16 or 4x minus 19. So then we can just solve for the x. And then, did anybody get value of x? You should get a whole number. Should be positive. All right, so Alex is saying 35. Let's check it out. You should get a whole number for it. That should be a minus, so you gotta add 19 to both sides. Right. Jason, how we doing? Okay, you should be on the way. You get a value for that to your cat? Oh, looks like you got it. Check that easy move. Hey, Senor, how we doing here? That's right. Again, very good. So, well done. So I got an x. So you should get x is 35.
Yep. And both angles are 121.
And then just plug them in. Plug them into one or the other. I should say only at the one. And you should get, angle measure is 121.
Yep.
Okay. Because what, 3 times 35 plus 16, or 4 times 35 minus 19? You get 121. That's okay. At least you know. The goal is we understand. Anybody have any questions?
Yesterday.
Okay. All right. I haven't seen her in a while. Don't want her to miss out. Okay. Questions? Now, I know some of the next few problems are going to be a little bit out of order, I think. I think this one might be all right, but I think the next one we start going out of order. Okay, questions on this one? All right. Okay. Consecutive interiors. So then what's our setup? Okay. All right. Now, what must we do? Look at our x's along with the -1 and the -19. What can we do to make our lives easier? All right, so how many total x's will we have? Say it again. 20x. Yeah, $7 plus 13, you have 20. What about our constants, the -1 and the -19? If we combine those, what do we get?
-20.
You get -20. Very good, Catherine.
So then, plus 20 to -20 and 2, 182.
Yes, good move. Add 20.
So that equals 200 equals 29.
Yep. And then x would be 10. Very good. $20x equals 200. And then divide by 20. Great job. X would be 10.
7x minus 1 is 69.
Yep. And then the other one has to be 111. Good. Okay. Any questions? So give everybody gets a quick moment. Copy this down. Again, don't forget to combine like terms when necessary. I don't want that one. So I think that one of our concerns, not for everybody, not so much for you all here, but some of your classmates still get confused on when do you combine the like terms versus opposite. So the first line you had to combine like terms because the 7x and the 13x, since they're on the same side of equal sign. Same thing with the -1 and the -19. Now the second step, that's when you do your opposites because you can't combine 20x with -20. But you can combine your constants, but that means you have to add the opposite. So opposite of -20, positive 20. That's how we get 180 plus 20, 200. Divide both sides by 20, bang. There's your x equals 10. And then from there, plug your x value into both expressions. And in this case, you're getting two different angles. So that's why you have to plug them into both. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? And when you're good, Jason, Catherine, Valerie, Alex. All right. All right, I got an idea. How about this? All right, ready? Okay, this next problem. This one gave us a little bit of problems on the Unit 8 test. I think it was how it was presented that might have been the most difficult part. This one, I really wanted to talk to us about this. So, given the below diagram, determine the measurement of angle R. Well, do we know what angle R is? So what can we always do to indicate something we don't know? Variable, so we can use an X. So there's our angle measured, that's the X. Now, what's our larger arc? 120 is the larger arc. And then the smaller arc has to be, so LASA. I'll type that stuff in right here. We don't know the angle measure. But we do know larger arc, 120. Then the smaller arc is 40. Don't forget the degree symbol, but oops. Now, we're going to use this equation right here. So this is something I would definitely, what I would do, I'm going to show you a general schematic as well, being anytime you have a picture that looks like this, with two arrows, you can do that and that. So this would be your general formula. I know it's a little bunched up right here, so no, I don't want that. I don't want that. No, this is not working too well. Here, here. So there would be your angle. You could put AM for the angle. Oops, that's SA. Smaller angle. I mean, smaller arc, larger arc. Now, so this is your general formula. But now, do we have enough information where we can solve for our angle measure? You do. Because, well, do we have our angle measure?
Nope. It's an X.
No. So right now we have an X for the angle measure, but that's okay. Times X equals, well, what's our larger arc? What's our smaller arc? Well, and then, well, what's 2 times X?
2X.
2X. And then what's 120 minus 40?
80.
Now, are we in a position where we can solve for the X?
Yeah, divide them by 2 and then you get 40.
There you go. That's all you do.
So X is 40.
Yep. Yeah. Do you have your agenda with you? And then I'll just abbreviate angle measure with AM. That's for this type of problem that you have to identify angle measure, larger arc, smaller arc. So then angle R will be 40 degrees. So does anybody have any questions on this problem? Again, identify. But then once you're finished, then. So yeah, identifying. I cannot stress it enough. But definitely for this problem, I'll clean this up a little. You definitely need to review this type of problem. I'll use another. So then we can definitely see. I know it's a little bunched up here, but your angle measure is always between the two lines. So you usually have larger arc, smaller arc, angle measure. Could be the other way around. It could be angle, smaller, larger arc. Now, I think on your final, you're going to get something a little more straightforward because I think on the Unit 8 test, Valerie, Unit 8 test, it was a little harder because we had to do a little more work for that. But this one's going to be a straightforward problem. Questions? All right. Valerie, Jason, Alex, Catherine, we're good. We're good here. And again, identify. I cannot stress that enough. All right, next one. We have not done too much of this. You will see a problem like this on your final. Now, what I do, anytime you have your problems like this, if you're determining the slope of the line between 2 points, here's how I would label this. Usually we say x1, y1 for the first point, right? Then x2, y2. Does it matter the order? Could we say, you're right, it don't matter. We could say x2, y2. I know it sounds strange. You put the second point. Now, again, it's not wrong no matter how you label your points. Well, that did not work. So it doesn't matter how you label your point. But remember, you have to keep the ones consistent with the ones, the twos with the twos. Now, when we do this type of problem, I want to talk about the first one because I see a mistake that could happen right away. Here it goes. So there's your setup. So you do your y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. It's going to be like that for both of these problems. But here's where I see a mistake that could happen. What's our value for y2? -4 minus 0. But what's -4 minus 0? Okay, that's not so bad. What about x2? -6. Now here's where we have to be very careful. This minus sign stays. You got to keep that minus sign. And then your x1, put in parentheses. So what is our x1 value? Now, what happens when you have a minus negative?
It turns into a positive, I think.
You're right. Oops. That's going to be a plus. That's going to turn into a positive. So it's really -6 plus 3. So in the end, you're going to have a -3 for the bottom. Now, notice you have two negatives. -4 divided by -3. What's really going to happen with those negatives when we divide? What happens when you divide two negatives? That's a positive. Now, 4/3, can you simplify it? Or do you have to leave it be?
I think we have to leave it be.
You can leave this one be. You can leave it as 4/3. That's okay. You can leave that slope as is. You don't have to worry about simplifying that one. What about the other one? Anybody try the other one? What's going to happen with this other one? Well, what's y2? What about y1? What's 3 divided by 3? 3 minus 3. What about our bottom?
5 minus -7. You put parentheses over 7 and -7.
Very good. Yep, so that's negative is going to turn to a positive. So what's 5 plus 7? Now, but now what's our final answer? I have a 0 divided by 12. Divided by 0, but are we dividing by 0? You're dividing by 1. So be careful. If it was flipped, then you're right, 100% right. It's 0. 0 divided by anything. That's going to be 0. So 0 divided by anything is 0. But you cannot divide. If it was the other way around, then it would be undefined. But this is going to be just straight up 0. All right, any questions up to this point? But again, this might be something I would include. Now, what I would do to make it I would always put parentheses around the second, like the x1 and the y1, just in case it's negative, because then it's a minus negative. That's why I did these specific problems. Because anytime you get a minus negative becomes a positive. Okay, so questions. Questions up to this point. Valerie, you good over there? Catherine? All right. All doing really well here. Then the next one. Okay. Oh, okay, I should have asked. Can we go on after this one? All right. Now, next one. I think we talked about it briefly last time, but it never hurts to try it again. So you're going to get two different problems. One, I'm going to give you three numbers. You need to ask me, can the three numbers give us a triangle? And then the other part is, I'm looking for a third possible side length. What can I do? So if I give you three numbers to see if possible side lengths of a triangle, I should have specified. So you might want to add this in real quick. I'll put it in red. Should say of a triangle. And same thing here. That did not work. Here we go. So both bases of a triangle. So now for the first one, which are two shortest sides? Which two? All right, so what's 11 plus 17? Is 28 larger than 24? So can this work? Can these three numbers form a triangle? Yes. That works. So what about the other case? I don't know why. I should not have used red on that. What two numbers do I have to add for number two? 15 and 18, so 18 plus 15. Can that work? No, this one's not working. That's a straight up no. Because you have to use the 15 and the 18. Add those two up. They're the two shorter sides. And when you add them up, 33 is smaller than 34. That's why, even though I have it this way, I'm just saying that's a no. That's not going to work. That's no good. Questions? It still wouldn't work. Very good point. So even if it was 34, 34 is not less than 34. So that's a very good point, Alex. Like that. Because if they're equal, still not going to work. All right. Now for the other half, all you're going to do for these types of problems, if I say you want to find the third problem, the third length, all you do is the following. all you do, 20 minus 12 less than x less than 20 plus 12. That's all you do. This one wasn't so bad because the numbers are in order. The other one you have to be a little careful. Reason being, now, for the other part, how am I going to subtract our two numbers? Is it 11 minus 25 or 25 minus 11? 25 minus 11. Believe it or not, I remember on this unit test, we switched that order. Some of you switched that order, and I just wanted to look at you and say, what is going on? But and then just subtract 14 less than x less than 36. There you go. Questions? Okay. Anything you missed will be in school later today. We just finished this slide. So all you do, subtract, add. And then just put that less than x less than symbol between. That's all you need to do. Questions? All right. Now the next set of problems involves triangle congruences, and some of our angles add up to 180. Whoops. I was almost said the wrong one. All right. So we're going to get to that. Let's get that up right now. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one. Are we ready? So again, if you're looking for possible side lengths, add the two smallest. If it's larger than the largest, you're good. Not if it's equal or less than, no good. And then to look for the third side, if I give you two numbers, subtract, add, and put less than x less than between. Not bad, right? Okay. We go to the next one. All right. Triangle congruences. Order is going to matter here. So the key is you have to look at, for your first triangle, where do you start?
A.
Okay? Now, notice with angle A, do you see anything with it?
No.
No. So then you have to look at which angle on the other triangle does not have any markings.
B.
So then it would be triangle P. Now, if you go from A to C, then from P, where do we have to go next? Because A to C has only one little mark.
It's the same as R.
You have to go to R.
And then B will be the same as Q.
Yes, PRQ. Good. So that order will matter. Now, who could tell us, given the possible options, which one of those options tells us why these two angles are congruent? Look at what is marked. Who wants to take a guess? All right, I'll give.
What it would be?
Yeah, either.
Angle side angle?
Why angle, side, angle?
Because C is an angle, and then in between C and B, there's a little line which indicates that it's a side. Right?
Okay, pasa, Brian. Yep, that's right. So in the end, it's angle, side, angle. All right, this is angle, side, angle. Very good. Because you got your angle, side, angle. Very good, Catherine. Well done. Oops. So angle, side, angle. Well done, Catherine. So that might be part of the problem. So you have to give me the exact congruence, the order, but then you also have to tell me which one is it. So the order matters. You can look at your diagram, then tell us again why, which one it is. Now these next two, you're going to be given the diagram, and you have to determine only by the diagram which option works. But sometimes you're going to have to do a little thinking. Now, we'll focus on this one here first. What do we notice about the triangle? Both triangles. What's marked for both triangles? What was marked? Are there any angles marked?
No. So it's either gonna be a side, side, side.
Yeah, that's only gonna be a side, 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 because only sides were marked. Side, side, side. And that's the same. Side, side, side. So this one was straightforward. Similarly, this one was pretty straightforward too. You had an angle, side, angle. This one might be a little more tricky. So we have a side and a second side. And you see that here because see the two tick marks here? It's going to match these two. One tick mark here, that matches there. However, are any other sides marked?
No.
No. So can we say side, side, side for this one here?
Nope.
No, you can't. We don't know about this side. We don't know about that side. So side, side, side's out of the game. However, what could,
HL.
well, do we have a right triangle? No. So we don't know. Hypotenuse leg, we don't know. Why do you want to say SAS, Alex? What's the same? What's that? Okay, but why could... Let's talk about this for a second. He's saying it's going to be an SAS. What do we know at the intersection? What do we know about this angle and that angle? What do we know about those two angles since at an intersection? Any intersection, what do we know about opposite angles? So if you look at anything like an X, take a straight up X. That's what you kind of have going on here. What do you know about this angle, that angle? Oh, sorry, it looks like two birds are kissing. Anyway, what do you know about this angle and this angle? They're congruent. Why? Okay, and what's the other reason? There's one other reason. Begins with a V. Vertical angles. That's what we have going on here. Vertical angles, always congruent. Sin duda. No doubt. Es un hecho. It's a fact. So yeah, you got vertical angles going on here. S, A, S. These are vertical angles. I'll redraw that. Those are vertical angles here. So like here, there. All right. So vertical angles, that's what we have going on here. Good job. And they're always congruent. That's why in the end, that's going to be an SAS. Because those correspond, these guys right here, vertical angles congruent. Once you get that part, everything else falls into place. Good job. Anybody, any questions? All right. Questions? All right. Now, next couple things. Let's see what we have going on. We have about a little over 10 minutes to go. So again, vertical angles, congruent. That's always going to be, you always are guaranteed at least one angle. These sides, since they're congruent as well, side angle side. All right. Anybody, any questions before the next one? Okay. And I think, real quick, I'm just going to do the setup, and then we'll talk about this one next class because I really want to get to... Okay, there's a couple I might skip a few, but then go back next class if that's okay. Real quick with this one. If we have a triangle, you have a triangle. What do we know about the sum of its interior angles? What must the sum of a triangle's interior angles always add up to be? Always equals 180. So, given this little hint, what would be the setup? I just want the setup for now. What would be our setup for this problem? Who would like to take a guess? If we want to solve for x, how would we set up the problem? What would be our equation setup? So the sum of the three angles has to add up to 180. So that means, what do we do here? What's our game plan?
It would be x plus 96 plus x plus 3. Well,
Okay, so let's try that again. So, I heard 9. Am I missing anything?
2x.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if I heard x or 2x. All right. 2x, that's it. This part is angle J. Angle L. And this entire part is angle K. So Angle J plus angle K plus angle L has to add up to 188. Very well. Well done. All right, this one. So if you copy down to 2x plus 96 plus x plus 12 equals 180, that's the most important part. Now, I will let you all, you try that one at home, because and then we'll go over this definitely next time. So because I really want us to talk about one or two things before the end of the period. But there's your setup. Should be able to solve. All right. Now, sorry, these last few are going to go fast. Actually, this next one, so don't do anything else for that previous problem. I just want to talk about this problem here for like a minute or so. So I need everybody on this page with the two triangles. Now, what you have going on, you need to look at your triangle congruence. Now, what you could always do, I don't know if anybody remembered, you could put the first part of the triangle congruence over the second part of the triangle congruence. And then that could tell you who matches with who. So notice C and G match up. So there's 72. F and E match up. 52. Now this last one, we don't know H yet, but can we figure out what H is? Can we figure out yeah.
4x minus 12.
Okay, that it is 4x minus 12, but given we have the other two triangles, right? And the sum of the three angles has to add up to 180, right? Can we get an actual number for angle H? Can we get an actual angle value, like the actual number? Yeah, you can. You're right. Because what do we have to do? The sum of the three angles is 180, right? So then it would be 180 minus 52 minus 72. That's how you're going to get that last angle. So that's how you can get angle H. You do 180 minus 52 minus 72. So what number would we get? If we do 180 minus 52 minus 72. So you get 120. So it's 56. That's how you get 56. So your equation would be 4x minus 12 equals 56. And now you're at a point. You can solve for x at this point. But that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to match your first triangle with the second triangle. And then from there, you figure out, okay, G and C match up, so G and C have to be the same angle. E and F, got to match them up, same angle. H and D, they have to be the same angle. But with H, you found out, okay, I don't have a number, but I know my other two. I can get my third number. And then H and D are going to match up. And then from there, your setup's going to be 4x minus 12 equals 56. All right. Questions? All right. Briefly, before we wrap this up, I'm going to skip the next slide for the moment. We're going to go back to it. Basically, it's just You're going to have to draw a picture. What I really want to talk about for about 1 minute. Joe needs to fix his roof. What do we say ladders always are? Ladder is always the hypotenuse. It's always going to be the hypotenuse. That's always going to be a hypotenuse. That's going to be your setup. And then last thing, I know we're just about out of time. We'll go back to this one in a moment. Well, we'll go back to this one next class. This one, a lot of us had problems earlier in the year. We're definitely going to review trig identities. And most of the other stuff afterwards is units 7 and 8, which we'll probably have more time to, we'll probably be able to take care of those without any problems. All right. At this point,